Hello, happy people. I'm so glad you could join me. Ah, need to go learn that song. I always remember Eddie Murphy. I always wanted to live in a house like yours, my friend. Maybe when there's nobody home, I'll break in. Hey, I want to talk about failure today, and I figured why not experiment as we go because we fear failure. We fear the embarrassment. We think we're going to look foolish, so we don't try things. This is a new setup for me using this fancy tripod. My son got me this microphone set up, so we're testing this, seeing how it's going outdoors. Might be too much sun, but like, so what? What's it? What's the big deal? You know, there really is no such thing as failure. You win or you learn. And so I've tested a few. I was sitting down earlier, had the dog, testing the sound, testing the lighting. I went through a little tutorial, learned a couple of things on this gimbal. So, you know, I'll make better videos from here on out. The first time you do anything is the worst you're going to be at it. So you got to start though. I just got done with jiu-jitsu, learned some lessons today, as I always do. 8 years in 1 month, 8 years in 3 weeks. I go 5 and 6 days a week. I'm always learning. Literally at the end of class, we did a review of a couple of other things. So literally after class, stuck around for 5 minutes, a couple of black belts, showed some finer points on how they handle things. One is a small guy, one's a big guy. And I learned. I learned from both of them. The big guy tapped me a couple times today. Did I fail? I don't know. Did you train today? But he complimented me. You know, I've known him for all 8 years. Sorry. And, he says, I'm more unpredictable, which is good. He's super tough to fight. And so tapping to him, is that a failure? Tapping to him only twice in 6 minutes instead of 6 or 8 or 10 times like I used to. That's a victory, right? So what are you doing or not doing in your business that's holding you back? What are you afraid to do? Are you afraid to prospect? Are you afraid to make videos? Are you afraid to do reels? Are you afraid to learn YouTube, Twitter, X, I don't know, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever? Are you afraid to do copywriting? Are you afraid to send a daily email? Are you afraid to do newsletters, trade shows? What are you afraid of? You've got to figure it out. You've got to embrace the suck. You've got to branch out. You have to do two things in business. One, double down on what's working. Figure out what's working and do more of that. But at the same time, you need to be applying 10 or 20%. You got to figure out the numbers, but some percentage of your effort, of your money, of your time, your focus has to be on trying new things. Because everything will eventually stop working. There is such a thing called ad fatigue. You've seen brands as big as the U.S. Army, McDonald's. They change their slogans. They change their logo. I guess Walmart recently changed their logo, like, I don't know, a little bit bolder. But rebranding happens. You dig your well before you're thirsty. So again, like everything, there's always two sides of the same coin. Jocko calls it the dichotomy. Good. There's always a dichotomy. So by all means, if something's working, go faster, harder with that. But understand, it will eventually stop working. Dig your well before you're thirsty. Try new things. But it's got to be small iterations, certainly from a marketing standpoint. It's crazy to go from jiu-jitsu to karate. Maybe you go from gi to no gi. Maybe you go from jiu-jitsu to judo, or vice versa. But in your marketing, you don't change everything. You're constantly iterating. Change a red button to a blue button. Change submit to enter. Okay? Change, a black background to gray. But you always change one thing and test. If you change two things or three things and something gets better or gets worse, you don't know what caused that change. So you've got to have a control group, okay? Then you always test against it. But don't be afraid to try new things. You're afraid to try new things, again, because you think you'll look foolish or silly. Maybe you think it'll waste money. But look, if you try something, if you allocate 5%, 10% of your money and time and effort to something and it doesn't work, is that a failure? Or do you now know what doesn't work, so don't try that? Now you have more confidence to double down on what you're doing. Or you then spin that off, put 5%, 10% again, try something else. You can't be afraid. Okay, you should be afraid that one day, suddenly, without warning, everything goes away. A lot of people right now, as I record this, Trump is shutting down a lot of things, a lot of projects, a lot of funding, and people are caught flat-footed. It's like he was elected months ago. You should have known. Hope is not a strategy. Oh, I hope my department stays. I hope my division. I hope I'm kept. Hope is not a strategy. We saw it years ago with social media, with Facebook. Hell, TikTok was just taken down and brought back up. People were sweating it. If you only have one of anything, you're at risk. That's what you should be fearing. You should fear having one source of leads, one source of sales, one source of revenue. If one client is all you have, or if one client is the majority of your income, that's what you should be afraid of. Don't be afraid of testing new things. Okay, AI is here to stay. You need to be experimenting with it. I built an Instagram AI avatar yesterday. We'll see how it goes. A friend of mine said, "What the hell is this?" Because I shared it on my story. I'm like, "It's an Instagram AI. I'm figuring it out." Oh, I look foolish, whatever. Who's going to remember if I tested an Instagram AI 6 months from now, 6 years from now? I've been doing this since 2006, being on my own. Who the hell remembers what I was doing 19 years ago? I don't remember what I had for lunch. Okay, so look, we're always afraid of what people will think of us, but the sad fact of the matter is people really don't think that much about us at all. Everyone's all caught up in their own bullshit. They're all up in their own heads. Fear, uncertainty, doubt. I've heard that somewhere like 90-something percent, 93, 97% of our thoughts are negative, counterproductive, self-defeating. That's terrible. And here you are worried, oh, I'm gonna try a newsletter and it won't work. I'm gonna try a postcard campaign and I might lose money. Who cares? And obviously you're not gonna bet the farm on something brand new. Again, it's why you iterate. 5%, 10%, try it. You get good results, take 10%, now you go to 11, 12, 15%. Who knows? The new thing a year from now, 6 months from now, could replace what the main thing is right now. But you've got to test. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid in jiu-jitsu to try new moves. I tell people all the time, there's some guys, very high level. I'll just do the same thing over and over again, every training session. I'm like, that's where you have to try new things. That's why we train, so you can get ready for a tournament. Try something new, expand the game. Training is, and you're training partners. That's why we're all there. We're there for one another. Try something new. A new attack, leg locks, whatever. Go for the wrist, go for the elbows, new choke. Try something new while you maintain and get the reps in on the fundamentals. Every class we warm up the same. And each warm-up has a purpose. And when you're new, you don't realize it. When you're new, you see all these fancy things online and you think that's how guys win. The reality is, I've never beaten my instructor. He beats me every time with fundamental moves. And he keeps me at bay because he's quicker at implementing and executing the fundamentals. So our warm-ups are part of the game. Our warm-ups are the fundamental moves. It just so happens it's a good exercise. It's a good way to warm up the muscles and the joints. So even this cough, right? I'm like, oh, should I make the video? I've got a cough drop, got water, whatever's going around. I've had it for 3 weeks. So yeah, I could just hold off and never make a video. Some people may put in the comments, oh, it's unprofessional, whatever. Okay. I'm getting better at making videos, getting better at sharing these online, getting better at chopping these up, sharing snippets, sharing them on reels and whatnot. Getting better with this microphone setup, getting better with picking the scenery, getting better at speaking contemporaneously, even though I've spoken for 35 years. Yes, I could be afraid of a cough. I could be afraid of some trolls online, but you know, you've heard this before, but there's nobody that's doing better than you that is critiquing you and trolling you and making crap comments online. So don't sweat the idiots. Okay. So try something new every day. Try something new while mastering the fundamentals. I'll have a link in the comments. I've got a link in the description and a pinned comment, but in the description, I've been sharing lately my 12 Weeks to Peak program, and it's a free habit tracker. And I have you track the main things for faith, family, fitness, and finance. Go get it, right? 12weekstopeak.com. Scroll through the description. It's there. There's a link to it. It's free. There's nothing to buy. In the comments, I've got a free report I've had for many, many years, and I just updated it. It's called The Number One Reason Your Sales Are Down, Your Stress Is Up, and You're Running on Empty. Both those are free. All right, go get them. I was on a roll. For some reason, my phone went to sleep. But like I said, there's no failure. You win or you learn. I'll learn. My phone went to sleep. I don't know. And my son also called, but it didn't ring. That was good. It kept recording. So I just got to master this. But like I was saying, the two reports, right? 12 Weeks to Peak. It's not really a report. It's a habit tracker. There's an option for salespeople where I give you steps to do. There's one for non-salespeople. And even if you are in sales, you could use that one. I give you 3 optional fields that you create for yourself and track. But on, the number one reason your sales are down, your stress is up, you're running on empty. I wrote that many years ago. I've updated it several times. So it's current, but dive in. Okay, take a risk. Try something new. Iterate. Launch. Monitor. Measure. Whatever you measure, you can eventually control, you can improve. Okay? Don't be afraid of it. Step into something new. You've got to expand. You've got to branch out. You should be very afraid if all of your eggs are in one basket. I've got 2 computers, right? If my iMac goes down, I can do almost everything with my laptop. My laptop goes down, I've got my iMac. And I'm 15 minutes from the Apple store, so I can have a new one quickly. But like I said, one lead source, one anything, you're putting yourself at risk. That's what you should be afraid of. So if you have a coach, a mentor, a mastermind group, peers that you know, like, and trust, peers that are qualified to give you feedback and input and advice, then by all means, hang out with them. If you don't have them, create your own. If you don't want to create your own, find someone, someone that you trust. Give them money and have them hold you accountable. Like it or not, sometimes that's the only way we're going to grow. I give my instructor money for jiu-jitsu, and it's a lot of money. I'm like, I'm going to go use this thing. I'm going to go get my instruction. I paid for this. Okay, and it helps to be surrounded by, I've seen probably 20 guys get their black belts in 8 years. That's on top of all the black belts that are already there. So there are a lot of very qualified people that help me. And even all the guys that are level with me, even some younger guys, lower belts, are still, everybody has a strength, right? There's a blue belt that is crazy good with his legs, does some crazy arm attacks with his legs. I'm like, you gotta show me that, bruh. So you can learn from everyone, all right, if you're open to it. So stop shooting from the hip, okay? Have a plan, implement the plan. Measure, monitor, rinse, wash, repeat, grow. Thanks for watching. I'll go sell something.